Our big story tonight is the culmination of an issue that we've covered for months now, deflection. Multnomah County's long-awaited deflection center is opening a week from today. It's about a month and a half later than initially thought. It's a place for people to get connected with addiction services if they're caught with hard drugs, which is once again a crime in Oregon. But not everyone is eligible to be deflected away from jail and into treatment. Still, the opening of this center is a big deal. Blair Best, who has followed this saga every step of the way, brings us an update.
Just like the change in season, a change is coming to this corner of Multnomah County. On October 14th, this modest building in Portland's Central East Side will be where officers take people eligible for deflection, an option for those without active warrants whose only crime is possession of hard drugs. This deflection center was originally set to open more than a month ago on September 1st, when possession became a crime again in Oregon. But Multnomah County Chair Jessica Vega-Peterson delayed the opening due to staffing shortages.
It's going to make a huge difference for law enforcement because law enforcement and our partners at the City of Portland have been clear with us. They need a space to drop off people who are eligible for deflection.
Starting Monday, the deflection center will be open from 7 in the morning to 11 at night, Monday through Friday, and until 3 p.m. on weekends. Security will be on site and patrolling the perimeter 24/7.
The deflection center is going to be operating partly based on when we're seeing the most demand for deflection services.
Services the county could not offer alone.
We're the architectural of record for the project.
Margaret Wilson is the principal architect Multnomah County hired to help find and design the deflection building and deal with permitting, among other things.
We've been designing their spaces and really looking, working in hand with the construction company to provide a quick delivery of service so that they could open as quickly as possible.
The plan is to add 10 reclining chairs to act as sobering beds early next year. But Wilson is also searching for a permanent drop-off sobering center where people can stay up to a few days, different from this deflection center.
We've been looking at anything from warehouse buildings that have limited walls on the interior to I think there was one that was more of an office building that we were going to renovate. And a project type like this really can make a huge impact on people's lives as they start their transition and really look at how this can be a great impact to our whole entire community.
All to help people like Steve, who stays busy clearing the sidewalk where he sleeps. It's a block away from the deflection center and under a billboard that warns of the deadly consequences of the drug he depends on.
I went from fishing commercially for 12 years and I was about 50 days away from a 100-ton master captain's license, and I threw it away because I chose fentanyl.
Now he spends $50 a day on fentanyl laced with xylazine, or tranq, an animal tranquilizer that causes these open wounds on his leg.
So xylazine is, which people know as tranq dope. Our body doesn't really know how to, I guess, expel it, is what I'm told, and doesn't know how to filter it out, and so we get leg wounds, and they won't go away. It's painful and scary. I've wanted to quit for a long time, but the pain comes back.
Blair joins me now from outside the deflection center. Okay, Blair, a lot going on here. First off, I feel terrible for that guy at the end of your story, but let's focus for a moment on deflection. The building is opening Monday, but they've been doing street outreach in the meantime, so is that going to stop?
That's going to continue, Pat, but in areas like East County, where it's farther away and it'll take longer for first responders to bring people here to the deflection center. So instead, out there, officers will continue to call on outreach workers to meet people who they catch possessing and using hard drugs and who qualify for that option of treatment over jail. They'll call them to meet them on the streets, and that's what's been happening here in Portland.
All right, and how is deflection going so far in Multnomah County? Do we know, for example, if this is only happening for a handful of people, or is it a big number?
So on Friday, we got some numbers from Multnomah County on how this has been going over the past 30 days. And since September 1st, law enforcement has referred 71 people to the deflection program. And for those 71 people, outreach workers have made 136 referrals to services including detox, mental health, and housing. And here's how Washington County deflection numbers stack up to what we're seeing here in Multnomah County. In the first month of the program, 27 people were eligible for deflection and 17 chose to participate.
Okay, interesting. Now, back here in Multnomah County, the deflection center and referral to services, that's just one piece of the puzzle, right?
It really is. This deflection project is ongoing, and it's one that the county wants to grow. For example, starting next year, they want to open several sobering beds as they continue to look for a permanent sobering center where they will open up to 50 beds. And that's going to be a separate location than this deflection center, and a place that first responders can drop off people who are under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And that is part of the reason we wanted to sit down with that architect behind all of this, because she and her team are tasked with finding that location. And according to her, it's not easy.
So we need a building that is big enough. We wanted to go ahead and basically do a renovation of an existing building instead of building new. We need a building that's approximately 30,000 square feet. We need it to not be wood frame construction, because the wood frame construction would not be allowed for the use that we are using. And we basically need some good access, because we will have both law enforcement, EMS, community providers dropping off patients and picking up patients. And we need it to be in a location that has pretty easy access to a hospital, just in case.
All right, so once they find that perfect building in that perfect location, they haven't yet. They have a handful of options which they wouldn't share with us. But once they do, let's be real, they might likely face some pushback from the community. I mean, we've seen it many times before. We've seen it with the city-run tiny home villages. We've even seen it here with the deflection center. A preschool just down the street sued the county over opening this center so close to its playground. And that is a challenge that is not lost on the architect and her team.
This is a highly contentious project, and so when you look at that, not a lot of people want this directly next to them, and so there is going to be some give and take on the building and the building location. Every single time I go home, this is in the news, this is articles being written. It's definitely the most publicized project I've definitely worked on. But I kind of feel like we just, as a team, put our heads down and really look at what is the best way to design for the patients and for the staff that are going to be working in these spaces. And so kind of keeping our heads where the design should be for this project would be really what we're concentrating on.
Now, the search for that sobering center, we will be following that in the months to come. But in the meantime, here at the deflection center, Monday is the big opening day, and we'll be watching. Pat.
All right. Thanks, Blair. Appreciate it.